Hi, Miss Paola. We are Elias and Valeria, and the topic we chose to talk about is consumerism and how it creates more pollution in the world. But first, what is consumerism? Consumerism is the idea that increasing the consumption of goods and services purchased in the market is always a desirable goal, and that a person's well-being and happiness depend fundamentally on obtaining consumer goods and material possessions. Here at the bottom, we can see some pictures that make consumerism in a graphic way, and in the left we can see a lot of brands. And what this means is that people are always interested in buying a lot of brands and are on the hype of this ship. Next, please. So, consumerism does have a political background, and it relates to capitalism. Why capitalism? Because capitalism has allowed big corporations to emerge, and later we will see how big corporations contribute to this consumerism phenomenon that we are studying. As two main factors, capitalism allows low product prices to remain valid, and also allows cheap packaging and a lot of waste. This cheap packaging means that a lot of plastic is used, also a lot of paper and etc. Next, please. As historical and cultural events, we have at first place the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution can be mentioned as a historical event that has had an impact in contamination. Enterprises such as the cloth industry, manufacturing, were completely changed from a handcraft dynamic to a factory system, where mechanized manufacturing was implemented, including new machines, power sources, and more. This industrialization carried to mass production of products, which resulted in more waste. Here we can see some images of the factories, and then at the right we can see the way the products were transported using these steam machines. Next, please. Also, globalization as a whole can be mentioned as a cause of this new phenomenon of consumerism because of the global markets and trends that we can see. Here at the right, we can see a lot of cheap toys that have been brought to trend by YouTubers. For example, my little sister asked exactly for a toy in this picture because she had seen it in a lot of YouTube videos, actually in kids' YouTube videos, where some YouTubers used to make like reviews or maybe like a fun game with it. And here at the left, we can see a graphic picture of globalization and how it started with a wire. And with this new technology, globalization has been made possible. Next, please. So another factor about globalization is the globalization of all these brands you can see here. Apple, for example, is a good example of consumerism because everybody wants to have an iPhone. And actually a phenomenon in Latin America and other, I think all countries, is that some people want to have always the last product of Apple. And this has caused more waste. It is true that Apple, for example, does not give the chargers now with the new phones, but actually more people buy the new phones, and the later phones are remain unused. So next, please. Some actions that have been taken in manner of this issue are the Sustainable Development Goals by ONU. The goal 12, for example, is called responsible consumption and production. Also some local campaigns, some little campaigns promoting local and sustainable consumption. Patagonia, for example, can be seen as a friendly brand, and this image of the left is done by this jacket. It's like a anti-consumerism campaign made by them. And at the right, we can see like a more little campaign in a local community where love where you live. is the slogan. This means that by buying local and buying sustainably, you are showing love to the place you live, and the money you spend remains in your community. Next, please. So some stats about this consumerism and how it produces more waste are the plastic packagings. For example, nearly 300 million tons of plastic waste are produced every year. 50% of them are only single use. For example, that plastic bag you use to carry your stuff and then threw away, that's more pollution to the world. Then plastic wastage is growing at an annual rate of 9%. We would think that in this new era, people are more conscious, but it is actually not true. And for example, and talking about a bit about the big corporations, Australia bottled water industry worth over $500 million generates more than 60,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. So these big corporations producing the stuff we buy are polluting in their own way. Next, please.
The solution that we as team propose is based on educating the population about the issue and carrying out activities that involve and encourage local consumption. Our solution has several parts because we want to influence from different points and ways to the groups that make up society. Part A, education, and part B, promoting local and sustainable consumption. We we are aware that the way in which a child is made aware is not the same as the way it is used with an adult. Therefore, we created the following action plan. 0 to 12 years old. We believe that these are some of the most important ages to raise awareness since these children will be the ones who tomorrow will have the fate of the planet in their hands. Moreover, since they are still very young, it's much easier to instill in them an idea of a pattern of behavior. As they are still developing their personalities, they lack as well established basis, and this makes the work with this group easier. They are at a very early age, so the best way to raise awareness in this part of the population will be through games and interactive dynamics in which children do not even realize that while they are playing and having fun, they are also learning. We want to experience this experience to be unique because this will make them stay in their memories for the rest of their lives. 12 to 18 years old. For this age range in which children are becoming more aware and are developing their critical thinking, we suggest implementing a segment within their curriculum in which they become aware of the way we are damaging the world and all the repercussions this is bringing. We believe that the idea is to show these children that the consequences that our pollution is bringing to the world are not just a problem, they are threatening the environment. For example, instead of just showing them a theory, it would be important to show them the reality that is being lived so that they want to be part of the change. For example, water scarcity is tangible evidence of what our excessive and irresponsible consumption is generating. We feel that this part of the course should be more of a research class than a lecture class where students can get into this reality. 18 to 30 years old. For this age range, we propose that awareness be raised through a series of contests in which people are asked to develop projects in order to solve the different problems that have already been generated due to our pollution. The idea would be to encourage young people to propose ideas that generate value and thus limit the increase in global warming. These projects will be of interest to young people because they will be offer financial reward. While these young people are looking for solutions, they are becoming aware of the magnitude of the problem as well as the problem itself. 30 to 60 years. For people between 30 and 60 years of age, we propose that a series of talks and workshops be held to explain and discuss the situation that we are being experienced. This type of talk can be transmitted through television in order to reach more people. These people are characterized because they still tend to watch the news at night on television. Therefore, we could take advantage of this behavior and promote awareness of them through this medium. 60 and over. For this last part of the population, we propose to write articles on the subject in newspapers. We know that many of them are not yet closely related to digital media. Therefore, columns of analysis and opinion could be placed where experts speak and express their different concerns about the situation in which we are living. Plan B, promoting local and sustainable consumption. For our second part, we want to promote local and sustainable consumption within society, since these products, as we know, cause much less damage to the environment. Our way of promoting this type of consumption will be mainly through activities that generate that the producers of these products become better known. We mainly want to implement small markets in the different cities since it will be in these markets where local producers will have the opportunity to exhibit and make themselves known. The idea would be that these markets would be held on the last Sunday of each month, thus generating a different activity that can be enjoyed by the whole family. Inside the market, there will be exhibitors of all kinds of products and there will be also be areas where food will be sold so that people can sit and enjoy the afternoon and evening. It is expected that this activity will take place in an outdoor location. The value of this type of events is that they unconsciously begin to influence people as they begin to learn more about producers who are responsible for generating products that are environmentally friendly. In addition, it generates that people are gradually developing and awakening interest in this type of merchandise. Finally, it makes people realize and appreciate more the moments we live surrounded by nature. A global institution that could help us develop our proposal is the United Nations, which already has several sustainable development objectives related to pollution and the environment. Since they are seeking to achieve the same objectives as us, they could join us and help us implement the project in more parts of the world, thus generating a greater impact. In the same way, they could help us to disseminate the events, to find experts to give the talks and write the columns, and even help us in the development of the content and contents that will be carried.
Okay, so how many geocultural obstacles did we find in Mexico to implement our solution? Honestly, we couldn't think of many of them, like traces or power dynamics. It would be more like a belief system that it is very present in the Mexican society, and that would be classism and the belief that the big corporations are saviors. Classism would be the fact that people always see the brand you're wearing, the where you eat, the stuff you buy. And big corporation as saviors is that people think that all the big corporations are like the very big deal that maintain society in a perfect way, and that working in one of them would be like the most most astonishing success. So the picture here at the right states corporations are not people. And this is to think that the people are not being directly benefited by corporations. We actually are enhancing the rise of them. So I think the obstacle would be more like an economical way because the Mexican society is not like a very rich society when we make like a general study. So buying these sustainable products and these organic products that have a sustainable production is not viable for most of the Mexicans in the country. So it is actually a problem in Europe and places where the people have more money to spend and earn better. So implementing this new way of consuming would be a very hard topic here in Mexico and honestly in all Latin America.
Through our solution, we want to achieve a global reduction in pollution, achieving that the accelerated and alarming climate change with which we are currently facing will decrease considerably. The idea of all this is to reach a point where the population is sufficiently informed and educated so that the decisions they make are more conscious. Undoubtedly, it is only through this education that we will be able to influence people's behavior patterns and thus generate visible changes. The idea behind is that the society does not feel obligated to act in a certain way, but rather that they, of their own free will, decide to be more responsible and choose to take care of the planet day by day. It will be the union of individual changes that we take that will ensure that the planet Earth does not collapse. Thank you very much.
And here at last, we have our references in the next slide. Thank you.